Dr. Casey Schneider, welcome back to Movement Every Day. Long time, I haven't created a video in a long time, but boy am I happy to show you this one because I get questions on it all the time. Have you ever heard about a bone spur? What's a bone spur? Everybody asks me, is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? You know, and here's the answer to those questions. Now, I'm going to show you a little bit of a model here because it's great for a visual, and I'm going to show you the spine. So, your spine has a bunch of vertebrae up and down your spine, and in between your vertebrae, which these are what this looks like, you have your discs, okay? And so imagine, you know, X amount of vertebrae here, X amount of vertebrae here. Well, bone spurs are when your bone, any bone in the body, but we're talking about the spine here, they grow extra bone. Now, how does that happen? Bone spurs occur because of stress, because of wear and tear, because you don't stay flexible, because you overutilize areas that you shouldn't be overutilizing. Let's say you bend over all day at your job and you're only using your back rather than using your hips, in which you're supposed to use. And so it creates more bone because your body's smart. It wants to lay down more bone to help stabilize, and it's just stressing it, so it creates more bone. Well, here we have a normal vertebrae, okay? We have the anterior part, the vertebral body, and we have the posterior elements right here. And what that does is the vertebrae allows for movement, so you can twist and bend throughout your body, but it also protects this very sensitive structure that you can see going down the center, the spinal cord. And that's the point of the bones, is to protect it. It needs to be hard, it needs to be firm. But if you see a connection between the two bones, you see a little hole, and through that little hole, your nerves come out, okay? And see how this hole is very nice and big? There's nothing causing any pinching of that nerve. Well, now what if I grab a vertebrae that looks a little bit different? We can see how this vertebrae in this section, these two vertebrae are smashed down more. These are what those bone spurs are. You can see that there's more bone here on these edges. It's kind of like, you know, a spur essentially. You can see a nice big old one right here, okay? Now let me compare it to this one. See how this one looks nice? And this one doesn't look so nice, okay? We can also, on the back part of the vertebrae, we can see that this one, a little bit thinner, looks a little bit more what I consider normal. This one's more robust. It has just more bone essentially. Now, why is this a good thing or why is this a bad thing? Well, let's think of it this way. You see that hole where that nerve is coming out? If you have a bunch of bone spurs or more bone there, well, it can create pinching of nerves. And pinched nerves are not fun. You get back pain, you can get leg pain, sciatica, all sorts of things. So we want to make sure that we don't have a bone spur in the back part where the hole is, that IVF we call it, or the intravertebral foramen, as doctors call it. So again, that hole is kind of, it's still okay, decent size here, but it kind of filled up with that extra bone, again, can create pinching. Now remember this one, look at this hole. This is normal. See how big that hole is? That nerve has everywhere to move. It's happy, it's healthy. This one, not so much. You can see a little bit smaller, more bone can cause pinching. Now, when bone spurs are on the front part here of the vertebrae, you can see that that's not really too bad. It's not going to create any issues. You know, there's not a lot of sensitive things. But when we have a bone spur in this back part of the vertebrae, well, then that's going to create those issues. So that's kind of the question to, is it a good thing, is it a bad thing? You know, sometimes I tell patients, don't worry about it. Sometimes I tell, okay, this is probably, you know, causing some of your symptoms. So the biggest thing, guys, is understand that bone spurs happen. It's wear and tear of the body. How can we prevent them? Well, you want to make sure that you're staying flexible. You want to make sure that you're using your joints and your spine and everything in your body as best as it can and how it's intended. If you are someone that bends and twists all day, bend down and come up, and you're only using your back, well, you're going to chew up your back and it's going to create arthritis or bone spurs, and that could potentially lead to bigger things. Chiropractic care is a great way to prevent that because as a chiropractor, we restore function, movement, and mobility. And what we can do is we can make sure all the joints in the body, especially the spine, are moving how they should. Also educate you and teach you how to use your body so that we don't start to develop these bone spurs. All right? I hope that helps, guys. I hope you had some fun today. Leave comments below. Go over to my YouTube channel, Movement Every Day, or my Instagram, Movement Every Day. Show some love, guys. I love the interaction. Of course, I have a Facebook, Dr. Casey Schneider, so you can go over there and give me some love there as well. Until next time, guys, I hope you had some fun. Hope you learned something. Remember, guys, movement is everything and movement is life.